Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another video. This is Dash Rose here. I am back to talk about some interesting news coming from the Walt Disney Company and mostly from Iger. Now, I don't know if this is entirely true or not, but I heard people talking about it on the internet and articles popping up. But there is talk that Bob Iger is looking for another person to replace him. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about that and tell you guys what I think about it. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. I don't really talk about, news-related stuff a lot, but occasionally I like to talk about it and get my thoughts out on this stuff. And in this case, with Bob Iger, in Disney, yeah, there's a lot of commotion going on there. A lot of commotion. Like, there's been a lot of chaos going on and all that. It's just a freaking mess. Like, it is a mess. And the company has been in the gutters for a long time. They've been going downhill for years. They've been making a lot of stupid decisions and all that. Like I've said, they've been pissing off, fans. For example, removing Walt Disney's, name from the company and just calling Disney and all that. That was kind of frustrating, including myself, because just having your logo just say Disney is very it's very corporate, and it beats the whole purpose of why they have his name on there. And then they got rid of Playhouse Disney. They shut down the 2D animation stuff. They've been doing a lot of stuff. A lot of that stuff was was done in the early 2010s and all that, and I mean, a lot of this was under him, too. A lot of this crap was under him and all that. And there's a difference between making stupid decisions for a company and then constantly doing them. And he's constantly been making stupid decisions and all that. And he's been doing it for a long time. He's been doing it for freaking years. Instead of him being like Bob the Builder, where Bob the Builder fixes things, he's Bob the Destroyer, is what he is. I've actually not seen Bob the Builder in a long time, but I do know that he's a guy also named Bob, and he's known for fixing things. And the thing is this guy is the opposite. He's called Bob, but he's known for destroying stuff. So, yeah. And, speaking of which, his previous CEO, that he replaced had to take over the first time around, was also the same way. He was also the same way, Well, it didn't help that, again, with Bob Chapek, it didn't help that he was the company was in financial trouble and all that, and, the COVID hit and all that, but not saying he did a very good job handling a lot of the crap either, but the thing is, a lot of people still think Bob Iger, is the savior of Disney. Not as much people do as they did, but I see a lot of people, talk about that, how he coming back was, I see people, commenting on on people's videos and all that, still, and saying how he saved Disney and all that, and he's done nothing to save them. He's done nothing, and I've talked about this before. I mean, I don't want to go into too much details, but because I've done this, I don't know how many times, but it's true. It's basically he keeps he goes and announces crap, and he doesn't freaking do it. He does it all the time. He'll say he's gonna do something, and he doesn't do it. So saying, he's gonna find a replacement CEO, he said that in the past too. He said he was only gonna come back for 2 years, temporarily, until he finds a replacement. That's what he was gonna do. And there's been a lot of people talking about that, where there's talk that he wanted to become the president of the United States and all that, and I would definitely not vote for this guy. This guy, like I said, destroyed the entire, economy and all that, and with Disney and all that, and I would not want this guy as the president. This guy would freaking destroy everything. But I don't even know if that's entirely true, or I wouldn't be surprised if it was. That's just things that have been talked about online and all that. That there was talk that he wanted to run for president. So that's why he was only going to be there for 2 years and all that. And then he announced his contract for 4 years, probably because he realized he wasn't going to be able to be president. And now it's talking that he's wanting to find a CEO very quick again. So what is he trying to run again or something? I don't freaking know what the... I clearly do not even know what's going on with this guy's mind. I feel like the power clearly has gone to this guy's head. It's... He's definitely, I would say, definitely way worse than Chapek was. Chapek was doing crap too, but Chapek's problem was he wasn't really fixing anything. That was the problem with him. He wasn't really fixing anything. He wasn't really fixing anything under him. He was, basically he was letting things get, out of hand too. With Iger's problem, Bob Iger is basically, he's basically here, again, he keeps announcing he's going to do something, but he doesn't do it, and he's also letting this crap run even further down the drain than it already is. We need a CEO that will actually freaking go in and course correct everything, And the CEO doesn't have to be perfect, but, someone that can freaking fix a lot of this stuff, because, let's face it, the Walt Disney Company is in freaking financial trouble. They are in huge trouble. They're in huge trouble. And I mean, they've had a couple good movies that have done really well. They've actually have done really well. We've had movies like Inside Out 2, and we've also had movies like Deadpool and Wolverine. Those movies have done well, but we can say that about the last few years too. That there has been, even last year, there was a couple movies that did either all right or pretty good. I mean, Elemental, for example, that movie, although it didn't do as good as Inside Out 2, it did eventually make its money back. It wasn't advertised very well. That was part of the problem, but it did eventually make its money back. I just didn't do as well, it didn't make as much money as Inside Out 2 did. So, clearly, they've had some good movies that have done well, even like Avatar 2, The Way of Water, that movie did well too. Or supposedly it did. I'm still kind of questioning if it did actually well or not, because, a lot of people didn't go see it in the theaters and all. I mean, there were people that saw it in the theaters, but I didn't hear as many people that have seen it in the theaters, as Inside Out 2 and all that. So, I don't know, but my point is they've had some good movies in the past, so that doesn't really mean anything, and all that. And I'm not saying I don't want them to do good. I want them to do good, I do, but I'm just saying that this has kind of been a problem, for a long time. They've had some good movies and all that, but a lot of them, like I said, have been really bad and all that, and even with their movies that have done good, they're still in financial trouble. They've lost so much money. They've already lost money when Bob Iger, was stupid enough to buy Fox, and all that. And I see some people saying, saying online and all that, how he spent like 20, over $20 billion more than he should have on Fox. But even then, I think even even like 40 something billion there. Actually, it'd been 50 billion if it's 20 billion over. It would have been 50 something billion. That's still a lot of freaking money for Fox and all that, and they really didn't get a lot out of it. So yeah, I don't know. But the thing is, too, is you can say, too, that technically these movies were under Chapek, too. These movies were announced under Chapek and all that. And I'm not going to say that I'm praising Chapek either, but for people who want to defend Iger and be like, Iger's return, he basically came out with these good movies that have done really well. No, these movies were, like, especially Inside Out 2, that was announced under Chapek, because that was in the D23 of 2022 before he got ousted. So they've already had that in production. They didn't have any footage of it, but they already had it in production. So they've already had, the whole thing in production before, he even came back. So, and those movies take a couple years to develop, so some people say it was probably 2019 when it was announced. I mean, it could have been like talked about in 2019, but I don't know if it was announced then or not, because that movie was what it took a couple years to make, and we would have had like 4 years of it being in development, if it were announced in 2019. So I don't know. I think it was probably announced in like early 2020, but still it would have still took time to make it, and all that. Just because someone announces it doesn't mean it's actually going to be made. But and I'm saying that like because Chapek, technically when he was in charge, they did announce. They announced they were going to make, the movie and all that. They were going to announce it, like, in D23. But at that time, it would have had to have been in production, because that would have only been, like, a year and a half. So it would have already had to be in the works. I mean, there are occasions where, a film can be done before that. But with the way the animation was and all that, and the story and all that, it would have taken a lot longer. So they would have probably already had the scripts and all out ready. They just would have had to work on the movies. I mean, it's kind of like that with some Pixar movies in the past that were cut. Like there was a movie called that was supposed to be Monsters Inc. 2: Lost in Scaradise. That movie had a script. I hear it had a script and everything, and it had a couple screenshots of, like, art, but, it never was made in production, and that was in production, a couple years before Iger came along. And, I mean, you can say that technology has, advanced, too, since then, which is true, but it still takes a couple years to actually make a movie, so, like I said, him coming back doesn't mean jack squat. And I'm not even really praising Chapek. I'm just saying that, I mean, what I'm saying is we still have some people, at least, that actually care about, the movies. Like, I think, even last year we had a movie called Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That movie did really well, too. Like, it didn't do as well, probably, as Deadpool and Wolverine, but it actually did well. It did well, too, and all that. It made its money back, too. So there's been a couple movies last year that made their money back. And I even hear a lot of people liked the movie, the sequel. I think it was the sequel. It was either a sequel or a remake of The Haunted Mansion. And that movie made its money back, too. But yeah, it made its money back, too. It didn't make its money back. It actually didn't do very well, but that's because it wasn't advertised very well. But people also liked it. So like I said, there's been some movies, that have been doing good here and there. And then there's been movies that have not done well, but have been well received. And that's how it's been. And where I've been going with this whole thing is I feel like, if he ends up staying longer, I doubt a whole lot's going to change, honestly. I still think we're going to have problems. I mean, we have a whole problem with, like Disney World and all that. this guy literally has been announcing that he's going to, he's going to be, well, basically Disney World, he has announced he's going to be, shutting down a bunch of old attractions and all that, build new ones and all that, and that's kind of like one of the whole reasons why I don't want to go to freaking Disney World anymore. That and it's expensive, but that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to go anymore. Like I wanted to go when I was little, but I didn't want to go because they started freaking announcing they were going to shut down these rides and all that, and like that's the whole reason why people want to go. They want to have the experience. They want to be able to experience, things they grew up with, or or their parents, what their parents, took them to as a kid and all that, Because a lot of people, that take their kids, to parks are probably in their 20s or 30s. And they probably had parents that, grew up with a lot of these rides like Splash Mountain and all that, and they keep freaking taking the crap down. So yeah, they keep taking the crap down and all that, and it's pissing people off. And then on top of that, you got freaking the prices are awful. But they're awful. And they keep going up and up. And remember, this guy also talked about, also brought up too how he brought up that too. He was talking about selling some stuff off, because I mentioned that in the past. I don't know if I mentioned that in this video, but he's talked about, selling some stuff off, but he's also freaking talked about the prices, going up, and he freaking backs down on all of this stuff. And that's the problem is like I said, they're in financial trouble, and them fucking jacking the prices up, that's not going to do you any good. I mean, sure, there's people out there that are crazy enough to pay for that, because I'm going to be talking about that at some point too. It's freaking crazy. There's a crazy couple that are willing to go out of their way and do anything to get to the parks. But that's the thing though. They didn't like I said, they've been going up and all that, and yet there are people that are going to pay for that. And I mean, some people just want to have experiences, but there are literally people that go there every day and will freaking they'll break their banks and all that and all that just to find some loose change and get into the freaking parks. And I'm like, you could literally go anywhere else, and have a lot better of a time than what it freaking costs to go there. Like, it's just freaking crazy. Like, it's literally crazy. Like how much it actually costs to go to these parks. And all that. And I'm going to say Universal, I hear, is kind of expensive too. Universal also is offering a lot more for people and all that. And they're also, opening a lot bigger attractions. I mean, Disney's opening stuff too, but they're also tearing down a lot of crap that people grew up with too. So, and I mean, at some points in time, yeah, there's gonna be times where they're gonna tear some stuff down. That's just how it goes, because some of the stuff gets old and rusty and all that. But they've been doing it a lot lately, and it's just making people mad. And with people spending that much money and all that on it, you think that would keep them in touch and keep them, going. But the problem is they've also lost a lot of their other customers. So in a way, they're actually kind of losing money more than gaining it. And even the people who are wealthy and can afford this crap are even turning away. So basically, you're turning away, the poor people and the rich people. You're turning away like all of them. Like, you're turning away all of them, and it's just, that's the problem there. And like I said, Iger is just not doing anything to really fix any of this crap with the parks and streaming and everything. He's not doing anything. And heck, even Disney Plus isn't freaking profitable either. Although they say that if you look up online, they say they have 150, million subs, like over that. Like, they do not, because if you look up the prices of if you look up the prices of ESPN Plus and Hulu, they actually almost equal that. So I think Disney, I think they end up probably having, a total of probably like 70, about 70, million subs or something. They just, because they own like the other two streaming platforms that are kind of, we're trying to hide it and make it look like they have more, but they really do not. They don't. They do not have any more, and that's the thing, that they don't have any, they really don't have as much as people think they do and all that, and I mean, like, especially, like, I've talked about this in the past with our streaming platform, too. I'm like even way back when Chapek was still in charge, I'm like there's no way they have, this many subs, especially considered, the amount of people that hate them and all that, and the crap they've been doing and all that, there's no way that they have a bunch of subs. Like, I mean, I think they probably would have had more around HBO Max levels and all that, and that seems to be kind of the case. Honestly, I think, like, HBO Max, too, at this point, is kind of losing their subs, too. Or I should say, I should call them Max, because that's what they're called Max, but yes, they've lost subscribers, too, probably, because a lot of their content is disappearing on the platform and all that. Because streaming is trying to, again, they're trying to compete with Netflix, but they can't compete with Netflix because Netflix has got a lot more. And all that, and yeah, I'm just like, I'm just like, I don't know, it's just kind of ridiculous, to have all this. Have all that, and I said they're just not going to give up, they're just going to keep pushing it until they make their goal that they'll never make, and I mean, with Bob Iger, too, I don't even know if he's actually going to find an accession or not, because like I've said, he keeps saying he's going to do something, and he doesn't freaking do it. And I mean, to be fair, this is kind of coming from articles that have popped up lately, but still, even then, I'm just like, I don't even know. At this point, I just don't have any faith in it. And even if he finds someone to take his spot, it's probably going to be just as bad as him and all that, and I feel like it's just not going to get better. This guy should have been freaking ousted, too. Like, they ousted freaking Chapek. Why don't they just freaking oust this guy, too? This guy just fucking needs to be gone. Him and Kathleen Kennedy, both, they need to be fucking just gone. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy's out there running her mouth and all that, and like, talking trash about people, and then Bob Iger's here fucking dragging the company into the gutters even more and all that. They just need to fucking oust both of their asses and get new people in here that will actually do some stuff. Honestly, if it were up to me, if I were CEO, not saying I would want to be a CEO of a company, especially one that's in financial trouble like this, but if I were to be a CEO, like I would honestly I would probably just sell a bunch of this crap off, like he was talking about doing, but actually do it. I mean, I don't know if I would sell off like Star Wars or not, because I could probably have people come in and fix it, but I would definitely sell off Fox. I probably would sell off the Muppets, because, no one really knows what to do with the Muppets anyway and all that, and it's not really making them a lot of money, because I probably would sell that off to someone else, and, and just sell off a bunch of that stuff, I would even sell off Hulu. I would sell off Hulu, too, because, yeah, they got Hulu and they got Fox, and, it's proving to be a problem because, now that they, own Hulu and all that, it's pretty much just Disney Plus at this point. It really is. It's not even, they basically wasted more money on it, which I told you guys they were gonna do that, like, a while back. They were gonna waste their money on it. They were gonna blow their money on the platform and waste their freaking money on it, and that's exactly what they did. And that was also a couple years ago too, because I brought up how Chapek was actually wanting to just shut it down, and Iger, just wants to keep it kind of open, at the moment. He might shut it down too, but at the moment he's keeping it open too. I'm not saying Chapek shutting crap down is doing any good either. I mean, it would save money, but honestly, they'd be better off just selling the stuff off, because they're gonna piss off people who grew up with stuff, including myself. Because although I watched a lot more Netflix than Hulu growing up, I still like watching Hulu occasionally. It was still fun. I just didn't like it as much as Netflix, because it had like the shows that I liked watching were like Family Guy, and then Family Guy, and then there was also, SpongeBob and all that, those long-running shows, and they honestly were running their course and all that at that time, and they still are, but, and all that, and, I was just like, I didn't want to watch the newer seasons on it, because Netflix had the older seasons, while, Hulu had the newer seasons. So, I was just like, it's not really worth it and all that. But I still watched like other shows on there that were like that didn't run as long and all that. But now, like I said, now it's basically freaking not even the same platform anymore. It's basically just Disney content at this point. It's freaking really gone downhill. I mean, I know for a fact, because occasionally I will watch like Family Guy on there, and there's like hardly anything left on there. And I mean, there might be some HBO Max stuff maybe, because HBO Max is teaming up with Disney and all that. But again, it's basically they're just trying to compete with Netflix. So they're basically kind of gobbling themselves up. Only, Disney, I don't think Disney is even allowed to buy Warner Brothers. I don't even think they'd have the money to buy them, but they were talking about buying, well, back in the day, before they bought Fox, they were talking about buying, that, and then AT&T, beat them to it, and they were the ones to buy them out. Not saying that they're in financial, great, because, I mean, they're doing horrible too, but if Disney were to buy them out, it would have gone downhill a lot faster than it did. At least it had a few more years where they still are making some good movies with some of their projects and all that, even though, like, Cartoon Network and all that really went downhill and all that, they were still making some good movies. If Disney bought them out, it would have fucking been horrible. It would have been worse than it already is. I mean, yeah, but I mean, not now. Like I said, now they're not doing good either. Now they're doing bad too. So yeah, you pretty much got the two most struggled studios out there. I mean, well, Paramount is struggling bad too. They're struggling pretty bad too, but at least they're kind of doing something with HBO Max, or Warner Brothers and Disney. They're not doing anything really to fix anything, so they're kind of just eating themselves alive. Why Paramount at least is trying to do something just to survive. And I don't know if that's going to do any good in the long runs, but at least they're trying to do something. Other than freaking with Paramount, they don't actually own a lot of products either and all that. And I mean, they are going back, and they're Nickelodeon is actually getting more TV shows and all that. They're bringing back more TV shows and all that, and so they're at least trying to do something different, But I don't know. I think, like I said, Hollywood in general is, I think, definitely not in good shape and all that. And I mean, with Bob Iger, like I said, Bob Iger, they need to just freaking oust the guy. They just need to freaking oust him and just find a completely different CEO. I mean, they had the option, I guess, to do that when Nelson Peltz was running for board seats and all that, But of course, he ended up losing and all that, which I still think. I still think, well, Nelson Peltz, I still think, like would have won it. They probably found a way to cheat it and all that because they were trying to like, bring back like a bunch of popular people and all that, like George Lucas and all that. And I'm just like, I feel like this is totally fake. I don't feel like people would say that stuff. I mean, even if there was videos and all that of it, I still would think it would be fake because people can make fake videos all the time on there. Like I've talked about how like in the past, like I actually thought this one video of George Lucas was real, but no, someone just posted his head on there and all that, and I mean, so it's possible they could just use like post people's heads and stuff or make AI or something because they got the power to do that, and it's just not. Like I said, I don't think he would have said something like that. I think was definitely something going on there, which is how they won and all that. They won the whole proxy war and all that, against Nelson Peltz. But I think like I said, he probably would have came back and probably would have fixed some of this stuff, and unfortunately, he basically sold all his Disney stock and was just like, fuck it, probably because it's too damaged at this point and all that, and you can't really save it. I mean, you probably could, but like he'd have to go in there and like fucking he'd have to fire a bunch of people. He would have to fire a bunch of people, and that would just be a disaster. So yeah, I can, because there's a lot of problems with the company and all that, but it's just probably too much of a hassle. Plus the guy's in his 80s, he's old. Iger's up there too. Iger's like 73, but he's still like 70s. A lot of people still live in their 70s and all that, but he's definitely getting to the point too where he won't make it much longer either because the 70s is pretty old too. But again, he's still in office. I mean, he's still here and all that, and at Disney and all that. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if he's gonna find someone to take his spot or not. But honestly, it'd be so freaking nice if he would, because like I said, I freaking despise this guy so much. I despise him so much, and I wish that like somebody would come in and course correct everything, because I'm freaking sick of this. But I don't know. But I'm gonna go ahead and let things go from here. So see you all later. This video has kind of gone on for a lot longer than I wanted it to, but yep, there you go. So I guess you guys can tell me what you guys think about this, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.